So this is refining the PLLS part 2, and if you haven't seen part 1, make sure to go check that out. The link will be in the description. So in part 1, I talked about how I can make my PLLs a lot better and how I can get faster at PLL by refining my algorithms and practicing my PLL algorithms more. So in part 1, as most of you guys know, I made 3 categories. One was the perfect category, the second one was the practice category, and the third one was the algorithms that I needed to find new ones for. So I'm going to go over the second 2 categories in this video, the practice one and the find new algorithms one, and I'll go over what I learned and what algorithms I found, because the perfect ones we can skip because I already went over them. Now in a couple days I also will be coming out with a video on all my PLL algorithms and finger tricks, so you guys might want to check that out too. So starting off with the UA perm, this is what it looks like, where these 3 edges need to cycle in this direction. What I did to practice this one was I wanted to be able to do it from the front and the back, and I can effectively do that now because how I do it is I do the M2, and an interesting thing is I do my M2s with my right hand, and most people do them with their left hand, but I do the U's with my left hand. So how I do it is I do my M2, then I do a push U, push M, then I do a U2 with my left hand, M prime, push U, M2, and that's how I do the UA perm from the front. Just the M2, then a push U, then an M, and the only thing that switches are the M and the M prime in the middle, and I can do it very easily from the front. And I need to practice it more from the front because I had previously learned it from the back. But then if I'm also in this orientation, I can do it from the back really easily too, basically with mostly the same finger tricks. But otherwise, the algorithm stays the same. So I can do my UA perms pretty well from the back and the front. The next one is the UB perm, and that's when these need to cycle in this direction. And I can do this one also very well. It's very similar to the UA, so I won't talk too much about it. But the way it works is I can do it from the front like this. And it's a lot easier. I like the UB a bit more because I can use my left hand and I don't have to push. It's more of a flick. And I also can do it from the back just like this. So the next algorithm I put on this list was the JB perm, and that's because I need to find the right way to do it and I need to practice it more, even though I am sub 1 on it. So the way I used to do it was the pull corner way, just like that. But then there's also the regrip way where you go like that. So I decided to go to the regrip way where you regrip in the beginning because then I am a lot faster, and in the JA when I go like that, I am also very fast at it. Even though this may not seem too important, it still is kind of important because you need to know if you're going to do the regrip or the pull corner, because each of those can be faster or slower for you. Now if I'm ever in this position from where my OLL ends, this is really nice because I can do the algorithm really fast just like that, but I prefer to do the regrip in the front and go just like that instead of doing the pull corner finger trick just like that. So now the next one is the NA perm, where it looks just like this. And let's be honest here, it's my slowest PLL. No one likes the NA perm or the NB perm for that matter. So the way I finger tricked it goes like this. I pull this corner, and then I did the second way, I did the JB perm, so it goes just like this. And even though I'm a bit slow at it, I'm still sub 1.5 at it, and I'll just keep practicing the NA perm. It's a lot harder to get sub 1 on the NA perm, but I have gotten a lot better since I made my first video on practicing the NA perm. So the next one is the GB perm, and it looks like this, where you have your headlights and your block over here. And I still stuck to the same algorithm, but the way I do it now is I used to do it like this, and then I had to go like that. But the way I do it now is I take the pair out of the back slot, and then I regrip. So it saves me more time in the end, and I can get a faster ending if I do that regrip in the middle. So this one is the GC perm, and it's when you have this bar right here, and then you have your headlights over on this side. And the reason I put it on this list was I had to do a hard regrip towards the end to put in my last pseudo slot, and the way it goes like this. And here's where I had to do my hard regrip. So I decided to go straight into that and make a hard regrip. So now we're into the find new algorithms category, and I have 2 algorithms in this category. The one is the RA and the next is the NB. And the way I used to do the RA would go like this. I do the RB just with my left hand, just like that. But I learned a much better and new algorithm, so I'll show you it here. So the way you do this one is you put the headlights on the left side. So I put it like this, and it's kind of like a JB. And I made a video on this algorithm. I haven't yet made one on the NB, but I made a video on finger tricking this algorithm, and the way it goes just like this. The first way it goes like this is where you regrip, and then you do an R, U2, R prime, U2. Then it's kind of like the same regrip as the JB perm, where you regrip, R prime, F, R, U, R, U2, R prime, U prime, and that's basically the algorithm. So it's basically the same thing as a JB perm, and that's why I really like it. It just adds a couple extra U moves, but that's why I really like this algorithm, because it's really nice and it's a lot like the JB Perm. So the next one is the NB, and it was my least favorite PLL. Now I kind of like the algorithm that I use. My least favorite one now is the NA. So the way I used to do the NB would go like this, where I do the same thing as I do with the NA, just left-handed. And my left hand was really slow at that. I really didn't like doing it that way. So the next algorithm I found goes just like this. And I didn't like this one either because it had some hard regrips and I just couldn't do it effectively fast. So I actually learned 2 algorithms for the NB. The one I just showed was the second one, and this one's the third one. So the way I do this one is when it uses R moves, and this is definitely the funkiest algorithm I've ever done, but it uses wide R moves and it goes like this. It's wide R prime, then a D prime push, then F, wide R, U prime, wide R prime, F prime, then D. Then I do a sexy move with wide R moves and then a sledgehammer. So quicker it would go like this. And it's definitely my fastest NB Perm, and I kind of like the algorithm because it's a bit funky and cool. So those are all the algorithms I put into practice and find new categories, and those are all the algorithms that I wanted to get better at. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe, and also stay tuned for my full PLL tutorial where I will show all the algorithms that I use and how to finger trick them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.